Hey everyone, it's Bethany at the Pink Hutch and welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be making the faux mini donuts that many of you have seen in my Instagram displays. This tutorial was originally posted on Instagram and it was a big hit. It was on my IGTV and it's now under Reels, but since it's gotten lost in the shuffle, I thought we would add it to our YouTube. Let's go ahead and go over the supplies you'll need today. You'll need some Crayola Model Magic, and make sure it's the soft dry kind and not the hard kind. You'll also need some latex acrylic caulking. You'll want to have some popsicle sticks, some small cups, some fake sprinkles. I got these off of somebody on Etsy, so I will link that in the description below. And then there's also a bunch available on Amazon too. You'll also need some craft paints. If you want to do the spooky Halloween ones that I make, you'll want to have black. And then if you want to do kind of like the more, not really realistic, the more donut colored one, the regular donut, this is the color I use. It is Folk Art Coffee Latte. And then for the different frosting colors, you can just pick whatever you'd like. And then for the donuts I've made, a lot of people have asked if I use a mold, and yes, for the ones that are in my Instagram, I use this donut mold. It's from a Japanese dollar store called Daiso, but it's actually a lot harder to work with this, and I'll show you. You do not need a mold to make your donuts. I'll show you all the difference in making them freehand and also with a mold in this video later on. And then this is also from Daiso. It's a bunch of different clay tools. They've been pretty useful, but if you don't have a Daiso near you, you can also use those popsicle sticks as well. And as usual, all the supplies you'll need will be linked in the description below. There'll be a link to the Amazon supply list. And don't forget to take a screenshot of what you need in 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and get started. First, you'll want to take a chunk of your air dry clay and start warming it up between your hands. You're just going to start rolling it, pull it apart, squish it back down and roll it. What you're doing by rolling your clay between your hands is that you're warming up the clay and making it more pliable to work with. So as it starts to get warmer, the more stretchy it becomes. You'll know your clay is ready to work with once it starts to feel a little bit softer. Next, you want to take your popsicle stick and just poke right through the center of your clay. Make sure to get it all the way through. And then just using your hand, start shaping it into the shape of your donut. So I'm going to stick my finger in there and just kind of loosen it up a little bit more. I know that looks funny. And you get your donut. Now personally, doing it freehand like that without a mold, it's so easy to do. You see, we shaped that donut in less than a minute. Here's what it looks like when it's dry. So after you shape your donut, just let that sit aside and let it air dry for about 2 to 3 days. What I do is I set it up one side, let it dry, and then the next day I'll flip it over and let it dry. Now if you want to see how that looks like with a mold, it's actually a lot more complicated to make it with the mold. So I'm going to pull a chunk of my clay and I'm going to warm it up just like I did in the beginning. Now the issue I have with the mold is it's hard to gauge really how much clay you need to fit inside. So I'm going to pinch off a little bit off this chunk. And then still going to try to poke a hole through here and place that inside my mold. As you can see, this looks like there's already too much clay inside the mold, but let's see how that turns out. Let's open up the mold. And as you can see, there's a little bit of the excess that's squished out from the sides. So what I usually have to do is cut around it and take those pieces out. And normally I would time-lapse this part for y'all, but I want you to see how excruciating this part is when you're working with the mold. It takes longer to make one donut with the mold than without it. So it's definitely not necessary. But if you'd like a more uniform look, then go for it. And there it is. Just gonna put it through the mold again. Still get some excess squishing out. Remember, once you've got that cleared up, you have to carefully pull out your donut from the mold and kind of go around and smooth out the sides. And that's what it looks like with a mold. Here's an example of one that's already dried. So you can see on the sides they kind of not perfect, it's pretty wonky. And here's what the donut without the mold looks like. And then here's with the mold. So you can kind of see a difference in the smoothness, that working with the mold really isn't better than working without it. Whichever method you use, make sure you let your donuts air dry for about 2 to 3 days. Once your donuts are dry, now you can paint them. So let's do a little bit of black. And then a little bit of the donut color. And you're just going to dip a brush into your craft paint and start painting your donut. I'm going to start off painting one side, and I'm not going to paint the bottom yet because I'm going to let this top part dry first and then I'll flip it over and paint the other side. So let's put that down, and then let's also paint one with the regular donut color. If you're using a lighter color, it's going to be less pigmented, so you'll probably need about 2 to 3 coats on your donut. That's what it looks like with 1 coat. And we're going to keep painting these donuts, allowing each side to dry before you pick them up and handle them. Otherwise, you'll just get paint all over your fingers, or they can transfer to other donuts. So here I'm painting one side of the donut and letting it dry before I pick up the next one and continue painting it. After your donuts are dry, it's time for the fun part. So grab your acrylic latex caulking, your tiny cups, and your popsicle sticks. And also your craft paint in the color that you want your frosting to be. So take one of your cups and squeeze some of that latex caulking inside. Add a little bit of craft paint. Take your popsicle stick and mix it up. After you've mixed up your paint with the caulking, go ahead and grab one of your donuts and spread that frosting on your donut. Once you've got your frosting on there, while it's wet, grab your sprinkles. And I'm just going to start placing them down randomly. Going to press down on any that are sticking up. Look how cute that is. do some different colors. And here's how some of my donuts have turned out. I've got some with a little bit of glitter on them. So if you want to add glitter, what you'll do is after you've added your sprinkles on there, just shower some glitter on your donut while the caulking is still wet. There are so many ways to decorate these donuts for each season. I can't wait to see what y'all come up with. I have enjoyed using these donuts in a variety of displays, and I hope you will too. Thank you for watching and supporting my channel. I'll see you in the next video.